Fantasy football tight end tier list for full point PPR. Let's get into it. First up, tier 1, Brock Bowers. Insane rookie season. If anything, he should get better. He got a huge quarterback upgrade, in my opinion. Coaching staff got upgraded, so I don't see any reason for his value or production to go down. The only thing that scares me is they might become a little bit more run heavy, but the Raiders weren't the most pass happy team last year, and he still did amazing. Doesn't really have too many threats to out target him. So yeah, Brock Bowers, easy number 1. Next up, Trey McBride. Trey McBride is a PPR machine. Even in non-PPR, he's still good, but I like him a lot better in PPR. I think his offense is a little safer. I think the Cardinals are just going to be a better team than the Raiders. I think there's going to be a lot more scoring opportunity for Trey McBride. I think his touchdowns will go up from last year. I think he only had like 1 or 2, and one of them was a fumble he landed on in the end zone. If you want a top tier tight end to win that position battle every week, I think those two are your guys. And then next up, Kittle. So if I really wanted to get technical here, Kittle easily could have been in tier 2 and then everyone else go to tier 3. Like, Kittle could be in his own tier. I just put Kittle in tier 1, but I think of him way less than I do Bowers and McBride. It's just he's such a huge advantage over everyone else still. So Kittle gets the nod at tier 1 for me. This passing offense should run through Kittle. He should be easily the most targeted person on this offense. I don't see anyone really getting more targets than him, especially with Ayuk's legs just completely done. Jennings is in the midst of a holdout, and they're saying he has a calf injury. I don't know if that's true or not. He could just be holding out. And then you have Parasol. Parasol's really good, but I don't think he's going to be more trusted in this offense than Kittle is. So that's my tier 1. Kicking off tier 2, Sam Laporta. Even though I'm down on all of the other Detroit Lions, I'm still kind of bullish on Laporta. I think last year he was dealing with a bunch of injuries, and when he was finally getting healthy, he looked like the Laporta of his rookie year. I think Goff, without Ben Johnson there designing amazing plays, he's going to look for a safety blanket, and his safety blanket is most likely going to be Laporta. He's a big target. Linebackers can't guard him, and he's too big for safeties unless they want to put a corner on him, but then that leaves Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, this team still has talent, and I think the biggest mismatch for Jared Goff to seek out is Laporta on this team for the defense, so I like Sam Laporta in tier 2. Next up, TJ Hockenson. TJ Hockenson had a really bad year last year in comparison to all of his other years. I will say this, though. He was coming off a gruesome leg injury, and he was looking good in some games when he was finally getting healthy, and I think this year he's coming into the season fully healthy. Addison's going to miss the first 3 games. I think he could be a huge target for this second-year quarterback in McCarthy. So I like Hockenson in tier 2. And then next up, David Njoku, one of the most underrated tight ends this year. I think I'm the only one putting him this high, but as long as Joe Flacco's their quarterback, he should see a lot of targets. And honestly, outside of Judy, he shouldn't be getting out-targeted by anyone else other than Judy. So I really like Njoku. And even when the rookies, I think when the rookies come in, they might hurt Judy, but I think the tight end position is just an NFL safety blanket for a lot of quarterbacks. Njoku is extremely fast, hard for linebackers to guard him, and he's big, so it's hard for safeties to guard him. These are two of the most athletic guys, so I love Njoku in tier 2. Next up, tier 3, Travis Kelce. Showed a huge step down in skill level last year. Father Time is undefeated, that's what I'll say about that. But extremely hard to rank, guys. Once Rashee Rice got hurt, his target volume went up and everything else went up. I think they relied on him a little more. And I don't think that's the plan when they're fully healthy. I think they want to rest him for playoffs. Like I said, he's getting older. Father Time's undefeated. They want to make sure he's fully healthy for the playoffs. He's still a great NFL player, don't get me wrong. It's just at this point in his career, I don't know how much he has to contribute to this offense. I know he can still be fantasy relevant. Like, tight end's not a hard position. All you need is about 8 PPR points per week, and you can easily be a top 12 tight end. So we know Travis Kelce is more than capable of doing that. Tier 3 for him. Next up, Mark Andrews, kind of in the same boat as Travis Kelce. Don't really know. He showed signs of slowing down last year, but then he had some good weeks. So it's kind of the unknown territory with Mark Andrews. And I just like him over guys that are unproven. So tier 3. Next up, Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's someone that I'm actually pretty excited about this year, especially in full point PPR. In non-PPR, he's probably going to take a little bit of a hit, but this Denver offense doesn't have much receiving targets. They went out and traded for Evan Ingram for a reason. I think he's going to be a decent part of this offense. I don't think he's going to be up there with Cortland Sutton, but every single year, these guys that are drafted later in rounds that end up being top 7, top 5 fantasy football tight ends, they're all first or second in on their team in targets, and I think Evan Ingram can easily finish second in targets on the Denver Broncos. Love him in the short yardage game. He's not really too much of a deep ball threat, but not too many tight ends are. So I love Evan Ingram in tier 3. Next up, tier 4. This is where I kind of get a little funky in comparison to consensus, but let's get into it. Kicking us off is Tucker Kraft. He is one of the most elusive and explosive tight ends in football. The Green Bay knows that. Their coach, LaFleur, he has been speaking that they want to get him more involved. And the failed receivers that they have in Dobbs and Reed, they drafted Golden, but I think the way that these coaches are talking in Green Bay, he is going to be someone to keep an eye on, and I wouldn't mind if you miss out on the top guys waiting and taking him. Next up, Strange on Jacksonville. He was a rookie last year. Cohen's the offensive coordinator, right? And he made Cade Otton very fantasy relevant, and I think that this Jaguars team has less options in the passing game than they did in Tampa Bay. And I think Strange can easily be a part of an explosive Jaguars offense this year. I like him in tier 4. Next up, Zach Ertz, kind of a safety blanket here. This is a floor level pick. His ceiling is not that high, but we've seen him finish last year, one of Jaden Daniels' top targets. He finished as a top 12 fantasy football tight end. Father Time is undefeated. Who else is going to catch the ball over there? Debo looked terrible in comparison to Ertz last year. McLaurin's arguably going to hold out. I don't think he will, but when he comes back, he's still going to be sluggish. He hasn't been practicing or playing in preseason. So I like Zach Ertz in tier 4. Next up, Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson was dealing with a lot of concussions last year. That's why he really wasn't that relevant. A lot of injuries, and then Dak got hurt and all that. But if this Cowboys team stays fully healthy on offense, Jake Ferguson is going to be extremely relevant. He's a great end zone threat. And this was one of Dak Prescott's guys. Now, I think the emergence of them getting Pickens is going to hurt him a little bit. But there is to a point where tight end targets and wide receiver targets are separated in the coaching system. So I like Ferguson in an offense that's going to throw the ball 40 plus times a game. Next up, Warren, rookie in Indianapolis. He has all the skills in the world. I don't really like the team that he got drafted to. They were one of the worst teams in targeting their tight ends last year, but they were throwing to like Mo Alley Cox. Warren is a huge upgrade. I think he can easily be the second player on this Indianapolis offense in targets. I think he can easily out-target Pittman at this point. Pittman just doesn't look that good the last year and a half. Kind of is moving around like a tin man. I think Downs is legit, but I think Warren, he's an explosive. He's a playmaker at tight end, which is rare. So I like him in tier 4. Next up, tier 5. Kicking off tier 5 is Loveland. They drafted him pretty high out there in Chicago. Cole Kmet is still there, but from what we've seen, I think it's going to be Loveland kicking things off. I think they're going to look to move Kmet. He looked great in preseason. The only issue with him, it's not a skill issue. It's just there's so many mouths to feed. That's why he's in tier 5. If they had one less receiver than they did out of that three-headed receiver core, I would probably have Loveland in tier 4, but there's too many mouths to feed there. Swift is great in the passing game as well. He should get around 60-plus targets in the season, so Loveland tier 5. Next up, Dallas Goedert. The only time we really see Dallas Goedert do really good is when Devontae Smith misses time, and you can't bank on injuries. So with fully healthy Philadelphia team, I don't like Goedert too much. He's pretty explosive. He is one of the more explosive tight ends. He gets big plays here and there, but in a full-point PPR league and in a Philadelphia team that only throws about 27-ish times a game, don't really love Goedert, but he will be fantasy relevant enough, so that's why I have him in tier 5. Next up, Isaiah Likely. This man has nothing but hype around him. We heard Baltimore coaches talk about they continuously want to get him more involved. He has all the talent in the world. He's kind of stuck behind Mark Andrews, but I think he was playing better than Mark Andrews last year. I think if they get him the correct amount of targets, he could be a huge factor in fantasy football and the NFL. So I love me some Isaiah Likely this year in later rounds. And last but not least, Dalton Schultz. He's someone that's extremely going under the radar. This Houston team doesn't really have a lot to pass to. You have a Christian Kirk and a Higgins. Obviously, Nico Collins is going to get his. But after that, I mean, who else is going to catch the ball? I think Schultz is going to be one of those guys that you can plug in and out every week and play the matchup, so I like him in tier 5. Tier 6, guys, Kincaid. He was a huge disappointment last year and the year before that. But it's the Bills. He is the starting tight end for one of the most high-powered offenses, so if you want to take the shot on him, go ahead. But at this point on, these are just guys that I'm just talking about. I wouldn't draft any of these guys personally. Next up, Pat Freiermuth. If they didn't trade for Jonnu Smith, I would actually really like Pat Freiermuth, but they traded for Jonnu Smith, so I'm not that big of a fan of him anymore. Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry is actually someone that I considered putting in tier 5. This is a weak New England Patriots receiving core. He could easily be a safety blanket, a time and time again, where Hunter Henry just has explosive games under the radar. So, I mean, if you want to take a shot on him, go ahead. I think Drake May is going to take a huge step up this year. Next up, Jonnu Smith. I would like him a lot more if he was on Miami. Before the trade, I had him up in tier like 3 or 4. He got traded to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's not known to be an explosive offense. And then he's going to be fighting for snaps with Pat Freiermuth. Don't really like it too much. And then last but not least, Kyle Pitts. What do I have to say about Kyle Pitts? 1,000 yards in his rookie year. He lived up to the hype his rookie year and only his rookie year. Now, I will say this. With Atlanta having Darnell Mooney and Drake London, this is a deeper receiving core all around than what Kyle Pitts has been a part of in the past. So a lot of reasons why I think Kyle Pitts really wasn't fantasy relevant is because he was lining up on the outside as a tight end. And if you put a corner on a tight end, the corner is most likely going to win every time. If he can actually line up as a tight end and get a linebacker or safety on him, he could get back to 1,000 yards, but they just don't pass a lot. I'm not falling for the Kyle Pitts hype train again. Tier 6 it is. Last tier, tier 7, Cade Otton. He could be fantasy relevant. There's just so many mouths to feed in this Buccaneers offense, so tier 7 it is for him. Next up, Mike Gesicki. Gesicki could be fantasy relevant. He had random games where he would just pop off. He's on one of the most throw-happy teams in the NFL, and they're actually a good offense, so he's worth a chance. Next up, rookie Taylor on the New York Jets. We know Justin Fields struggles throwing the ball. He had great seasons with Cole Kmet, though, when he was in Chicago. So, I mean, Taylor could be a little safety blanket for Fields, so I think he's worth a little sleeper pick towards the end of the draft. Okonkwo, Tennessee, one of the worst receiver cores in the entire NFL, if not the worst. And I think he could be another decent little safety blanket for Cam Ward. And then next up, Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson was someone that was sneaky good last year when he was healthy and playing. Didn't really start playing towards like halfway towards the 3/4 mark of the season. But when he was playing, man, he was getting his 3 catches with 50-plus yards. Now, I know that's not that good, but for a tight end, I mean, that's easily a bye-week replacement. You could play the matchups with him depending on how the offense works out. He got a huge quarterback upgrade, so he's someone I would keep my finger on looking forward, moving towards the season. And then last but not least, Tyler Higbee. He always manages, when fully healthy, to pop off here and there on a Rams team. McVay's his coach, so why not take a chance on one of the better offensive tight ends in the league? That does it for my fantasy football tight end tier list, guys. Check out the page. I got the quarterback tier list, running back tier list, and receiver tier list all on the page. Go check out the updated tier list. It could easily change when you're seeing this, or if you want to see every position and not watch a video, I'm going to add the Google Sheet that it's on. Completely free, no charge, obviously. Join the Discord. We love to talk shop in there. I give a lot of fantasy advice, start, sit throughout the season. Go join the team. Let's go win a fantasy football championship. Like and subscribe.